So let me tell y'all a little story, and you can apply it to yourself in different ways. It's all a fractal anyway. Everything's a story. So when I got saved, listening to Charles Stanley, I got saved by Charles Stanley, right? And I listened to everything that man said for 5 years, maybe longer. I mean, I studied all his videos and his audios and all that. It might have been 10 years. And I was thankful that I got saved because of that man, right? I might have even emailed their ministry one time, say, thanks, hey, I got saved. I mean, I got saved listening to Charles Stanley. We're going to apply this across the board. Listen to what I'm saying. Whether it's your parents, whether it's a companion, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a grandparent, there comes a point where you branch off and have your own belief system. You don't always agree with somebody 100%. You never do. So when Charles Stanley started, his church started going to that music that was not, my kind of thing, and I think he even left the King James and he went to the NIV or something, I started to say, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? I might have been legalistic back then, but it just didn't jive with me, right? So even though I got saved listening to his sermon and learned a lot and grew a lot, and most of what I know is because of Charles Stanley, but once he started going off the deep end, in my mind, to other people it might not have been, his music, different versions of the Bible and stuff like that, I kind of said, I'm done. So I started listening to other people, and it was probably the best thing that ever happened, because I was able to listen to a whole lot of different perspectives instead of just focusing on one teacher. If I went back to his teachings now, it would be like listening to a blast from the past. If I was to hear Charles Stanley's old teachings, it'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember when I didn't understand that, and I learned it, and now it's just a part of me. Long story short, somebody or something can be in your life, right? We can have if you go right there and take a left, about an hour and a half into the mountains, right there, go up the street there, and you're headed to where all that damage was. And somebody's past was completely disintegrated. The past has to be destroyed, because you're a new creature. As a saved person, your past has to be destroyed, because you're a new creature every day, change from glory to glory, glory to glory, glory to glory. Not sin to glory, because you're saved. The Bible says from glory to glory. So that person you used to know, they're not even the same person anymore. And actually, you didn't even know them. You only saw a projection. And there's a lot of stuff that's being taught now, like, a lot of times you project on that other person who you think they are. And most of the time, they're not even who you think they are. There's people who have been married 20, 30 years. You can read all the narcissists, there's a website, I don't know if it's still up there, but I studied it for like 5 years, datingasociopath.com, right? There's narcissistic websites, and they'll tell you, you'll read the comments people made. You'll see some of these women making these comments on there. They get stuck in the victim mentality, a lot of them, and they might be on there for 2 or 3 years making the same comment. It's time to move on, people, but it takes time. Here's what they'll say. I was with my husband for 30 years. I thought I knew him. I never knew him. He was not even the person I thought he was. I don't know how I'm going to survive. I can't hardly make it. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I don't know what to do. I don't trust anybody else. How can I move on? These are comments on datingassociatepath.com. I don't know if they're still there. I mean, they'd be long paragraphs. Long paragraphs. Was it the narcissist or was it her? Because the narcissist can only give you the fake reality that you want to believe, because the red flags are always there. They only give you the reality that you want to believe. Did you go to work with the man? Did you go to his office? Did you sit down and listen to him talk to his coworkers? Did you go with him to the football game? Did you interact with all parts of his life? If I was ever to get married again, I'd say you need to come to my job and you need to be there all day long and watch what I do, because nobody knows what I do. No mom, no dad, no wife, no ex-girlfriend. They don't even know me. None of them. They thought they did, but they don't. When you do a certain trade for 30 years and they don't even know what you do, they don't know what stress you have to deal with, what's going on, they don't know you. Because you spend 8 hours of your day or more, 10 hours or whatever, and they're not a part of it, how can they know you? They don't know you. They might hear you and know your belief system, doctrine-wise, spiritual, but there's also another world where you're walking down here. There's multiple worlds going on in one person. The metaverse is everybody. There's metaverses happening in the mind of people all the time. Sometimes I'll sit back and try to put myself in the other. I watch either a coworker or somebody around or somebody. I try to put myself in their perspective and see their kind of world and try to picture it. No matter how hard you try, though, you can't do it. You can't get in their world unless you've done that routine with that person a lot. Then you can say, oh, I see your world. I don't want a part of your world. I don't want the stress you're under. I don't know how you do it. And then there's all these multiple things happening in their lives. Their parents, their sisters, their brothers, their kids, their grandkids, their mother-in-law, father-in-law. There's stuff going on. And it's like, and if you talk to somebody long enough, just like they're going to go off on it. Let's say at first you talk to somebody and they go off on this tangent, but you're on this tangent. That's the second time I've had police in 2 days. So I need to pay attention to what I'm doing and not get pulled over, right? There's always a precog. There's always a precog. And anytime the law is around, if you see the law a lot, that's probably because you're in the flesh mind in some area, or you're not paying attention to the road or what. And I used to think, well, they're following me. No. The universe has a storyline that's playing. If you start doing something you shouldn't do, speeding or whatever, the law is going to show up. Running stoplights, whatever, they're going to show up. They don't even know they're being. The flesh and the law, the flesh mind and the law are commingled, because the flesh is nothing but sin, and you're under law, and those that are under law are in the flesh. Those that are in the spirit are under grace. And so it plays out right here. Everything that you read in Galatians, anything in the Bible is playing out right here. Your Bible is your script. You're playing the script out. It's right there in the Bible, and it's playing out right here. The blue letter law, the sky is blue because you're in all these flesh creatures are underneath the sky. That's why it's blue. If somebody's driving a red car, be careful. If somebody's wearing red shoes, run and don't look back, because the red has to be above the blue to be normal. Red shoes is a red flag. I'm telling you, I mean, it might offend some people, but I promise you it's a red flag. I promise you. Why do you think it's the lady in red? Why do you think they wear them red shoes, high heels, and they got some of them might have red underneath the bottom or something, If you do enough research, you'll find out the hologram is you're in the Bible. Yeah, there's a 2D Bible and there's a 5D Bible, but you're actually in it right here. Now this guy's tailgating me, and the way I do it, just to bring their attention, I hit my flashers, and they always slow down about 98% of the time. You have to find ways to not let people provoke you, you know. And he don't even care. Look at that. He don't care. He didn't slow down one iota. Let's just see what he does if he goes around me. See who it is. Movers who care. You believe that? You believe that lie? You really believe that? Movers who care. So everybody that works there cares about what they're doing. No, not everybody. Just trying to make it through the day and so they can go home and get drunk. It's Bud 30. It's Friday. Let's go get drunk. It's Bud 30, man. Where you going? I'm going up here and watch the game. What about your inner man? What? What'd you just say? I said, what about your inner man? What about your inner core? So you've seen that football game 1,000 times. Have you memorized the book of Ephesians yet? I got to a point a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. Maybe it was before the floods hit, and maybe it was during the floods. I got to a point where, like, I was in a state of just like, and I'm like on the verge of that all the time, because I see it, and I just have to ignore it now. But every moment is the same. Every conversation is the same. Everything is the same. When you spend enough time meditating on it, you'll get to that point. So you have to ask yourself, then, if every moment, what am I doing? What am I still doing here? Why am I still here? You decoded this place to the hilt. You see that every moment, everything is the same story. Why am I still here? Why did Jesus show up down here? Why was Enoch translated? Elijah translated? Why are some left behind? Why do some live longer than the other ones? Why are we still here and others left already? Oh, they got a bunch of balloons. Yeehaw! Woohoo! Balloons. Oh, they got an event. Oh, how many events have you seen in your life? How many merry-go-rounds have you seen? How many slides have you seen? How many hockey games have you seen? How many times have you been up at a stoplight? So the only conclusion, and God had to do something recently, that the only reason to be here is to serve one another if you do find love with somebody, just stay tight with that person. They'll die though. Either you're going to die first or they will, unless you die in a plane wreck together. So serve one another. The Bible says love one another, serve one another, worship God, be in praise and worship, renew your mind, walk in the Spirit, the grace of life. Do something, take care of your body shape, take care of your health. What else is there? Cut off the noise, there's all these things you should do, and then there's some things you shouldn't do that you should cut off, because it's all lies. It's all lies. There's some hobbies that you can do and stuff you can do, but even the hobby gets old. You can perfect a few skills, get really good at a few good skills and perfect a few good skills. But then once you learn a few skills, and it's like, okay, what now? So it has to go back to service, love your neighbor, and serve one another. It's the only thing it can be. Apostle Paul said, forgive one another. Why are you here? Why are you left here in this Plato land simulation? Why are you still here? Okay, let's say you get rich. Then what you gonna do? Just sit on the couch or sit in the bed and gain a bunch of weight and just what are you gonna do then? If you're waiting to get rich, you're already rich. Act like it now. What would you do if you were rich? You'd exercise, you'd find your hobby, you'd probably create your little business that you could run and help people with that business. So the very thing that you would do if you were rich, you could actually do it right now. You could step into it right now. But the scarcity law mindset, the scarcity law program has programmed you that you can only do those things if you're rich. Let's say if you thought, well, if I was rich, I would build houses and remodel houses. Well, you can go work and do that now. And you might get rich. You might end up doing the very thing, and it might make you rich. If I was rich, what would you do if you were rich? Well, go find somebody that's got it and go help them and do it and learn it and work for them, and you might as well be rich because you're doing what you would have done anyway. What are you going to do if you're rich? Are you going to just be selfish? Or are you going to still serve one another? So sometimes God don't let you get rich till you learn service. Because even if you were rich, let's say you created a business, you're still going to have people serving. You're going to still serve people, whether it's the managers or whoever is working for you. You still kind of have to serve them and teach them and train them. The greatest among you is a servant. So you get rich and you want everybody washing your feet, but Jesus said the greatest among you is a servant. How's that going to jive? How's that going to jive? See how they brainwashed you? I'm going to get rich so I don't have to do nothing. You think you'll be happy and fulfilled if you're not doing anything? I don't think so. If I was rich, I would travel. It's all about you, man. What happens when traveling gets old? What happens when you've been to every state and every city and every country and every ocean and island? You've been to everything. What happens then? You're rich already and you don't even know it. I don't like my job though. Go change it. Go learn it. Go do something else. I'm just driving in circles just I'm just talking, and as it comes to my mind, it's not ever prescripted. I don't prescript. I'm trying to break some strongholds even in myself. If I was rich, I'd have a bike. Go work over there at the bike store, and you'll get tired. You'll get so sick of looking at bikes. You'll say, I don't want a bike. I don't. If I was rich, I'd buy one of those such and such bikes. Go work at the bike store, and you probably throw up every time you see a bike because you're so tired to look at them all day. If I was rich, I would do blah, blah, blah. Go get a job doing that, and you'll say, I'm done. I don't really want that. I don't really want that. Why do you think the movie stars go crazy? Why do you think people go crazy that are rich? They go crazy. Nebuchadnezzar went crazy, thought he was God, right? Look at everything I've done. And God took it all away from him, and he had to eat grass for, 6 or 7 seasons, or whatever that means. Like a beast, like an animal. He just fell down on the ground and started eating grass. What does that mean? What does that say? I'm sitting here trying to think of something to eat, something different. I want to be rich. Act like it now because you already are rich, because there's no such thing as scarcity. Go work for somebody who's rich and learn their trade and become them. And after a while, you get so good at it, say they're ready to retire, say, hey, I'll buy this business from you. I know how to run it like a back of my hand, And they'll say, yeah, that's true. You've been faithful, dependable. You want it? And then by the end, you probably don't want it anymore. Because you know the responsibility is involved. It comes down to this. Most people want all the privileges. They want all the privileges. This guy about ran into me. Look at him. They want all the privileges, but no responsibility. Look how he's driving. They want all the privileges, but no responsibility. They want you to do it for them. These mindsets. All right, I'm up. Let's see. I know where I'm going to go now. These mindsets, they get stuck in these grooves, whether it's from their bloodline or just pure laziness or whatever. And they think they're okay, but they're not. So I caught myself just like, look at these telephone poles just repeating. Look at these bricks just repeating. Look at these dashes repeating. Everything is the same, people. So you have to ask yourself, why am I still here? To help other people, serve other people, push out the baby. That's something I don't know if I wrote it down or not. I was going to talk about this specifically, but let me see if I can remember what notes I took. If it gets downloaded, I'll take a note. I used to do it all. I should get back on it because it's really the more revelations you get, the higher you move up, right? I forgot. See, it just went out of my mind again. That's why you sometimes have to write it down. What was it? I was talking about everything's repeating. I said I had to get to a point where it was all, you either come to the point where it's all serving others. It's a worship service. Can't remember now. Went out of my mind. It'll come back one day. because you're moving towards this zero, the mind of, as you approach the mind of Christ, it becomes more narrow and more narrow and more narrow, and it's free. Even though it's more narrow, because everything's pointing back to a source, you're more free because it's so simple. I know everywhere I look is a series and a sequence. I know that. Enoch walked with God and was not. It's almost like every moment, Lord, this is the same moment from yesterday. And so as you zero point in and you get closer to the mind of Christ, you see other people who are still in the flesh mind, and you can't even talk to those people anymore because you know there's another driver acting crazy. There's just worried about stuff down here. There's no inner work, inside work. I'm gonna go to this restaurant. Usually when I go to this restaurant over here, it's either too cold or too hot or raining outside. So the weather's perfect right now. So I'm gonna go over here to this restaurant, see what happens. See if it's a good experience. The reason I go to restaurants now is just for the experience. It has to be a good experience. Otherwise, I don't want to go. If it's not a good, healthy, good experience that you come out of there and say, man, that was a good experience, I don't want to go there. Scarcity lie is a lie, people. You got everything you need right here, but you've been brainwashed. The programming, whether it was your mama, your daddy, yourself, or the media, the TV, or whatever, you've been programmed. Like if I had my other car, I'd probably pick this up, use this. Might go slide that pallet in the back of the truck and cut it in half and use it for something. I used to see a pallet like that and say, hey, I gotta get that right now. But then as I started seeing that it's a repeat. There's pallets everywhere. There's wood everywhere. There's free wood everywhere. There's no scarcity, people. The only thing the scarcity is if you're lazy, you don't want to do and the blood, sweat, and tears, it's good for you. You think the thing that you think is bad for you is actually good for you because you need to sweat. You need to stretch your muscle. You need to get some exercise. So let's say you got good at digging ditches with a ditch digger, right? You might make $50 an hour doing that in a job. You won't have steady work, but let's say you did it on the weekends. And you got so good at it that you created your own company that digs holes for cables and stuff. Then you'd hire a bunch of people that work for you, and you'd just be sitting there at the house, gaining weight. Do this, do this, do this. If you're not out there blood, sweat, and tears with them, your mind is gonna be like Nebuchadnezzar. Something's gonna click, and you think you're above that. And then when the bottom drops out, like the hurricanes or the floods or the tornadoes, then you have to go right back to doing that, and you say, I didn't take care of myself. Live like you're rich, but also live like you're poor. If you're poor, work hard, but think rich, and invest 10% of everything you make. If you can invest 20%, that's good too. Every time you get a check, whether it's a part-time job, full-time job, gig economy, Take 10% of everything you make and put it in investment and see what happens. You got to think like a rich person because you already are rich.